Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. My name is Nicodemus Kane, and today is April the 20th of 2022. I told you this day has a lot of infamy wrapped around it, so just beware. Not that I'm saying anything will or won't happen. All I ever say is just be mindful, be prepared, watch out for the other guy. um, I laugh at that because it's something my mom used to say to me, and it's something that my grandfather used to say to her, especially whenever you went out and traveled. Always watch out for the other guy. Uh, and I will probably wind up saying that to my grandkids as we go along. And it's not just something to say when you are driving on the road. It is definitely something to keep in mind everywhere for everything. Always watch out for the other guy. All right. Anyways, today we're going to be reading Psalm 128. This is a song of degrees. It's another 6 verse. It's kind of small. I was smart enough this time to actually pull up the Strong's Concordance because it seems like I've been using that more and more. So I pulled up the Strong's just in case I need it. I didn't want to say much. I didn't really want to say much about things that are happening. I could very easily because it seems like more and more this agenda of telling people that they can be whoever and whatever they want to be, and the agenda of putting sexual concepts and ideas into the minds of 5 and 6 year old kids is increasing rapidly. Increasing rapidly to the point that you have to wonder if nobody's paying attention or if anybody even really cares anymore. It's more and more I see it out in the Twitterverse that it's growing. It's growing. There are so many people that are getting into it. And it's usually the most sick and disturbed and depraved individuals. The ones that think that it's okay. I heard a story about a parent dressed as the Easter Bunny that was passing out plastic eggs with condoms in them to little kids. What the hell is that? You know, seriously, what is that? We've gone so far over the top at this point that I still say we have not reached Sodom and Gomorrah levels of sickness and evil, because there are still tales of Sodom and Gomorrah that we have not heard in the real world yet. But I still think these are the steps for us to get there. We are definitely not in the days of Noah. Remember, every evil thing that they could think of was coming true. We are not to that point yet. We're bad. We're pretty bad. But we are not to the point to where every evil thing is allowed to happen, to where there's just pandemonium in the world. So we still have a window to turn it around. But people still refuse. And I'm not just talking about truthers, the people that might be listening to my channel, the people that I follow on Twitter, the people that, I'm not talking about these people. I'm talking about those people in the world that either don't know that they're allowed to stand up against this, or they're too scared to stand up against this because they're afraid that that society overall will do something to them, will banish them, punish them, do something to them. And something I have been talking about for a long time now is about how people just will not stand up to the evils of this world, and it allows to continue. It allows to build. It's allowed to get worse and worse and worse, and people are not standing up to it. And because people are not standing up to it, it's getting to points to where we really have to start wondering what's going to happen. Because it's just nobody seems to care. And that's frightening. That's really frightening. This is not the world that I was brought up in. This is not the world I was raised in. This is not the world I was brought up in. And if we do not change it soon, we are going to be faced with a total nightmare scenario that we cannot pull ourselves out of. We have to start speaking up, stepping up, pushing back, telling others to not be afraid to push back. Do not be afraid to push back. Seriously, do not be afraid to push back. But people still are. People are still afraid. People are still afraid to even remotely commit to the possibility that we can change this. Now, so I really don't know what else to say other than that. Let's read the psalm. Let's read the psalm and see if we can find any real peace in it today. Because we could definitely all use a bit of peace in the psalm. All right, Psalm 128, a song of degrees. Blessed is every one that feareth the Lord, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. Amen. Stand firm. Stand firm, stand strong. Give us faith and peace. I made that prayer today. Start from the top. Blessed is every one that feareth the Lord, that walketh in his ways. If you walk in his ways, if you keep to the commandments, if you do not stray from the path, if you do not let evil come in. And we have talked about this. It is not a bad thing to follow the commandments. It is not a bad thing to not kill people. It is not a bad thing to not commit adultery on your wife. It is not a bad thing to honor thy mother and father. It is. These are not bad things. Yet everyone will tell you that you don't even need to worry about that. You are saved. It's okay. It's not like anybody is going to automatically be saved and then go out and kill somebody and then come back and say, well, I'm not under the law, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm sure somebody will. Eventually. They hear it enough, they're going to be like, oh, I'm not under the law. I can go out and do whatever the hell I want to. I'm sure eventually somebody will say that somewhere. But it is not a bad thing to just be better. To not follow the wicked ways of this world. It's not a bad thing. And yet this world will constantly tell you, oh, you just have to love each other. Just love each other, just respect each other. That's all you have to do. That sounds nice, but in practice, especially the way that this world practices it, it is only there to hurt and destroy you, manipulate you. And you will fall. You will fall for any trick they have because you were told just to let it happen. And nobody will speak up about it. But everyone that feareth the Lord, everyone that walks in his ways, will be blessed. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. The things that you do, you shall reap the benefits of everything that you do. Right now, people only really reap the benefits of the things that they do. Maybe 50% of all the work that you put out into the world is really yours. Probably less than that. I'd probably say maybe 30% of the things that you do in this world you actually get to keep. Everything else goes to somebody. Whether it be taxes, a bill collector, paying somebody for food. Almost everything goes to somebody else. You get to keep maybe 25 to 30% of everything that you do, of the work that you do. Because money is based upon the energy that you spend to get it. You put out all of your energy, 100% of your energy. And for that, you get money, which we have somewhere along the line we have agreed this is the exchange for our energy in doing labor for other people. We get money for it. It's quite possibly the worst system in the world, but it's the system that we have, and it's not a bad system. It's an easily manipulated system. That's why it was invented. It's because it's a system that can be manipulated. So you give up 100% of your energy for X amount of dollars that you agree upon. People agree upon this. Some people don't. I've heard that there are some people that are forced into jobs, and that's sad enough as it is. But the money you have, you immediately have to have X amount of dollars skimmed off the top. And that's kind of universal. That's kind of universal. Everybody's kind of, let their governments decide just how much they get to take. We've kind of hit a point to where everybody's like, okay, you can take this much, but if you take any more, we're going to be upset. So the government slowly starts pulling it by points. We're going to increase your taxes by 0.1% this year. The next year it's going to be 0.2%. Just a little bit more, until you realize that 35 to 40% of everything you earn goes into taxes. And then they decide out of that, 35, 40%, they're going to give you 1% back. That's how it works. But right off the top, you're losing money. Not to mention all the utilities that you pay. Water, which should be a resource that we should be able to have everywhere freely. Water, 78 something percent, 80%, I don't know how much it is, of the world is water. Water's everywhere. You want some water? I got water right here. I mean, they even get mad whenever you try to collect rainwater. A lot of places it's illegal to collect rainwater. It's like, well, it's a natural resource. Everybody should be able to have this, but we pay for it. We willingly pay for it. Electricity. Now, we can argue about if we should have electricity or not. But it's a service that people pay for. It's not something that you can provide for yourself, even though you can. Not electricity so much, but light. It's possible for us to be able to create our own light. You pay the taxes on your land. You pay the taxes on your house. You pay taxes to exist. Your bills. If you live in an apartment, you're paying rent to somebody else. You're paying somebody else to live in a place that you could very easily, if the governments had not bought up all the land, you could very easily go out and pick your own plot of land, make your own house, make your own way in this world. But no, we have decided that we're going to fall into this kind of society where we pay other people in order to live, in order to exist. And some people have argued with me about how much better that is. And that's fine. If you want to believe that that's better, that's on you. That's fine. You can have that. I'm not going to take that away from you. Personally, I think we could all do better. I think that there are too many people in this world that are owning too much land that could very easily fit more people on it, that if we just taught people how to make their own way, they could exist. They could build their own houses. They could make their own fires. They could dig for their own wells. They could find their own water. They could sustain themselves. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard to sustain yourself. Build your own gardens. Raise your own livestock. It's not that hard when you separate yourself from the world, from all of these conveniences that we have made. All of these little lies and tricks that we put into our systems. Oh, it's okay to sit down in front of a TV for 3 hours a day, and whenever you get off of work, oh, I gotta go to work, do some overtime. I gotta spend 12 hours of my entire day, half of the entire day, going to a job that I don't even like, but I gotta pay those bills. If you separate all of this crap off the top of us, and if we were able to function as we were supposed to function, where we have our own place, we make our own things, we could be better. But we've lost that. Everybody has lost that. There's not many people that have that ability to be able to exist like that. Sadly. And I think that is definitely part of the problem with the world, is that we have been distracted too much. You give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. As the old saying goes. But the Bible says, thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Everything you do, everything you accomplish in this world, you shall have. You shall get to keep it all. You shall be able to pass your inheritance down to your kids, to your children's children. We have no inheritance. I am not even remotely trying to kid myself into thinking that I am going to have anything left when my mother and my father pass. I am not even considering that at all. There is no plot of land that I am going to be able to say that's mine and I can keep it forever. That's the family land. We've lived in so many houses and so many places. My grandparents, however, they've had a house for, it's 1950, so what, 70 years? 70 plus years they've lived in that house. My grandmother, my grandfather passed away about 15 years ago. But my grandmother, she's been in there for as long as they've had it. 57, 58, somewhere around there. And it's a great plot of land. But I am not getting a part of that. I don't even know if my my mom, my aunts, my uncle, they will eat each other apart trying to get that land. And then what will happen is they will just sell it off and it will go to nobody. This is exactly what's going to happen. Because they all have their own stuff. They all have their own places that they're trying to exist in. And they will not, I don't think they will see the value in inheriting the land, because that's just not how they were raised. And what will happen is it will probably be sold to a renter or something. Probably worse than that is that the whole land will be cut apart. They will probably find some way to, it's like 4 or 5 acres. I don't remember how much it is. But they will probably find some way that they can section off each individual part of that land. Probably move the lowest common denominator people into that land. And it will just become worthless. Just another worthless plot of land that has been there for 70-something years, and it's because people have lost the ability to have and pass down an inheritance that means something. Because we've been tricked and fooled into thinking that none of this stuff exists for reasons. But you shall eat the labor of your hands. You shall have everything that you do. It shall not go to anybody else. It shall be yours. It shall absolutely be yours. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, And let me tell you, we're battling vines on the house right now. I can tell you that much, that those things will grow in the winter. They will grow up in the damn winter. But they shall they be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Thy children like olive plants round about thy table. You shall have everything that you make. You shall be happy. You shall have children upon children. And they shall be fruitful, and they shall multiply. Because it was always about going forth and multiplying. It was always about building good families. That's what God wanted. He wanted people around him. He wanted lots of people around him. We were put here for his pleasure. Not like some people say we were just put here to suffer, and we were put here just so that he could watch us all burn and die, and all get cancer. No, we were put here for his pleasure, for his enjoyment, because he loves us, because he wants. I said at one point in time that God wanted friends. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like, no, God wanted friends. He wanted people around. He wanted people around that he could give a free will to, that they could understand and exist, freely on their own. Because you got to remember, angels don't have a free will. Angels are beholden to God. They can rebel and not listen to him and go away, but the majority of the angels, they are told what to do, when to do, and how to do it. They are stuck in their ways. This is what they do. I think I had said at one point in time that God wants people that they're not just mindlessly following him. He wants people to be around him, to love each other, to love him, and have him love them, have us all be a part of this family, this group. It's what he wants. And he wanted more. All you really have to do is, and I've learned this over the past couple years. I didn't really think about it before when I was with my ex, where she had 2 kids, and I was pretty much raising her kids, and I didn't really understand it at the time. What being around a kid really meant. I have learned that now with my granddaughter. All you have to do is be around her for more than an hour and just learn what that means, is to have the pleasure of being around somebody, because she is such a beautiful thing, and it is so amazing to listen to her imagination, to have those goofy and insane conversations with her, just to play with her. That's the pleasure of having other people. And there's a connection between us all. There's an energy between us all. That's and I believe that. I don't get so far over into the realm of there's an energy field, this new age thing. There's an energy field that is this far away from us, and everybody has an aura and all this stuff. We all have energy. I absolutely understand that. We all have energy. We are all energy. And there is a connection whenever you get two people in a room, three people in a room, you know, that all, if we're all happy with each other and we love each other, you can feel that. You can feel that energy. It's a beautiful energy. And God knows that. He knows that the more people that there are, the more happy that people are, the more that people can exist within the same realm of understanding of existence, I guess. I don't know exactly how I want to say that. That the better that energy is, the happier people are, the happier that we can become. And we all feed off of that. And it's just an amazing thing, you know. That's why family get-togethers are so good, you know. It's because it's this beautiful energy that happens. And yes, I know there's people that bring bad energy into a room, and you can just feel that bad energy. You know, that's why the saying is, you know, treat people the way that you wanted to be treated. Is we have to be better. You know, we have to love more and not live the lie. Because so many people will just live the lie and exist in the lie that they'll just bring the house down. I've had that firsthand. I've had firsthand experience with that. We had a nice little family dinner. It was really good. You know, we had everybody in the house, all doing just fine, and it came up that somebody was going to a job interview, but they had to take a test. They had to be tested. And immediately, whenever the conversation shifted onto taking a test to see if they had the C virus, the whole mood changed. And I called it out. I said, you know, we were doing just fine until you guys started bringing that stuff in the house. I said, why did you do that? And then everybody started snapping back at me. And I'm like, this is my house. This is my house. You're gonna, you know, we had a nice, loving, peaceful conversation going here. And then you guys had to start bringing that lie into my house. And then it started falling apart. So what are you doing? But I saw that firsthand. I saw it fall apart firsthand. I was even told after that I'm just supposed to let it go. I'm just supposed to let it go and let it happen. That it wasn't hurting anybody. I said, no, it's hurting everybody in this room. For us to even consider this as a viable thing, if we can't talk about it, because that conversation got shut down. I said, if we can't even talk about it, then how in the world are we supposed to exist in this world with any kind of truth whatsoever? They didn't want to talk about it. They just, it was an immediately, you know, and it was like as soon as I walk away, everybody's, you know, they're back, they're talking about it. And that's all the conversation was. Because I walked away from the table. I said, I can't take this anymore. That's all the conversation was just the lie. I said, you've got to be kidding me. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. But I've seen that firsthand. We have to quit living the lies. And I'm not just talking about the C virus. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about every lie. We have all seen every lie. We all have to be better about this. And push back against the lies. Not let the lies take over our lives. Definitely push back. Thy children, like olive plants, run about their table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. If you simply follow him, you shall see good all the days of your life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. You shall see your children's children. You shall see your grandchildren. In the beginning, whenever people used to live to be 700 years old, they were seeing their great-great-grandchildren. They were able to pass down that knowledge from great-great-grandfather to grandson, great-great-grandson, whatever it was. Which is what somebody is. There was they were talking about books and writings from before the flood. What would it have been like before the flood? And they said, well, if it was a more oxygen-rich environment, which we know that there was an oxygen-rich environment, even scientists have said that somewhere along the line we had a lot more oxygen in the world. That not only were we bigger, lots bigger, but we were more intelligent. We were smarter. We were able to retain knowledge far more than we are now. So we didn't need to write anything down. Everything was passed down through stories, orally. We were able to keep all of that in our head. And it was passed from generation to generation. You've got great-great-great-grandfathers that are able to talk to their, great-great-great-grandsons and tell them the stories and have them retain that knowledge through all those generations. And it was, what, 1,500 years maybe before the flood. Some people say 2,000, whatever it was. All that knowledge getting passed through, finding its way on the ark through the flood. Maybe there were writings. There are some stories that talk about the lambskins, the quote-unquote golden fleece that God gave to Adam and Eve that made it through, that possibly had these writings on the inside of it, the story of the world. I don't know if that's true. It's a story. It's similar to the story of King Og, the giant King Og, riding a unicorn tied to the ark. It's one of those kinds of things, or like Og riding on the top of the ark so that he can make it through. It's a story. I don't know if it's true or not. I can't prove it or deny it. I don't know. But that's a connection that people have made, is that golden fleece. Is that it was something that made it through, and it was possibly one of the things that was inside of the Ark of the Covenant. So, it's just one of those things. But they didn't need the writing because they were able to pass down that knowledge. And that's how I think that's how the story of that's how the telephone effect happened after the flood and after the Tower of Babylon, is that I think they were still retaining that knowledge. They were starting to get a little bit dumber. The oxygen in the world was starting to go down a little bit. But they built this tower, and then God separated everybody. And as they separated, they started making languages. That's why when you look back in the past, there's like 5 or 6 different languages, different writing styles that were similar but different. And they all took a little piece of it. And that's how all these tales, all these stories of floods and of gods, fallen angels, and all these other things, that's how they were so similar yet slightly different. That's why you get so many different spellings of Baal. I've talked about Baal or Beelzebub or Beelzebub. All these different names for the same goddesses. Ishtar, Astarte, Isis, Ishtar, Easter, That's why you get all these different names for all of these gods that were all exactly the same. Well, it's similar. Let's just say similar. Let's not say they're all exactly the same, but they're pretty similar. Is that it telephoned out. It's because not everybody had a complete written language yet, but they started making written languages because they started forgetting. Because their brains were starting to become duller and duller. Somebody pointed out one time that the Bible says that everything starts fading away, starts breaking away, starts decaying away. That nothing on this world lasts forever, that everything starts falling apart. Humans are the same way. Humans have not gotten better, we've gotten worse. We've gotten smaller, we've gotten dumber. We are not able to fight off infections, and I will say virus, even though it's not the virus that people think that it is. We are not able to handle the things of this world as much as we were. A lot of that is because of a lot of the things that they have going in this world right now. We don't live as long. We're not able to have that same level of energy. We are different. We are way different than we used to be. And somewhere along the line, like I said, they had to start writing it down. They had to start inventing written languages, even though some of the written languages were probably already there to begin with, because the Bible talks about the books that are already written, the books that are in heaven that are already written. A lot of them have been hidden away. A lot of them we'll never be able to see. But they had to start coming up with these languages. And they had to start writing this stuff down so that they could remember. And that's how everything started coming about, if that makes any sense. I don't even remember why I got started on this conversation in the first place. Just another tangent. Yeah, I'm starting to trail off to the point that I'm starting to forget even where it started from. You guys get the general idea, though. That's how I kind of think things occurred. I don't know. I would love to know. I would love to know the truth. I really would. To find out exactly what happened. Oh, that's what it was. It's passing things down from generation to generation. Passing that information down, passing that knowledge down, passing that understanding down. That's what it was. Passing anything down. Passing your passing your inheritance down. We're talking about that too. Is being able to give something to the generations behind you. You know? That's what it was about. That one of the biggest problems right now is that sadly, the generations that come after us, I don't know if they're going to be able to inherit anything at all. Especially now, since they're going out of their way to take as much from everybody as possible. And now the law of the land is you will own nothing and you'll be happy. You will have nothing. If you own nothing, now get this, if you own nothing, that means you won't even be owning books. There will be no knowledge for you. And I'm not even going to attempt to hear anybody say, well, what about having all the information on the internet? No, I've talked about this as well. When you made all of the information digital, you made all of the information changeable. You made it to where any part of that information can be changed or manipulated, moved. Something I've actually been saying for a long time now. And we're only now starting to see it. To where, not only have certain books been taken off of websites like Amazon, where they are just straight up removing digital copies of things, but they're being changed. Classic example, and I hate using this as an example, but a good example is comic books. Something I've been seeing, something that people have been talking about, is that Marvel Comics, DC Comics, even Image to a point, they are digitizing all their old comics. I think they've pretty much done it at this point. But when they did, people started noticing that certain things were being omitted. If you hear something in the background, that's just me. I am cleaning my computer screen as I do this. As I talk. Yes, I could do two things at once. But they're noticing that certain things are different. Certain word bubbles have changed. Certain characters don't have cigarettes anymore. Certain characters aren't holding guns anymore. It's similar to Spielberg changing E.T. It was those little things like that. It's like Disney changing things in their cartoons. Classic example is the Toy Story. The end credits for, I think it was Toy Story 2, where they took out the Kelsey Grammer, they thought it was a sexist joke. And they took out the joke. The only way that you can know that they took that out was to have hard copy. The Lilo and Stitch. For some reason, in Lilo and Stitch, in the kitchen, Lilo is hiding in a cabinet with a door on the front of it. I can't tell if it's a cardboard or what. For whatever reason, Disney decided whenever they uploaded that movie to Disney Plus that they were going to make that a pizza box top. It's not in the old movies. It's in the new movie. It's a pizza box. One of the weirdest changes that's out there, but they're doing it. Anything you put on the internet that you think is safe is not safe. They can change and manipulate anything and everything they want to. And they're doing that. They're doing it constantly. If you own nothing, you cannot own the hard copies. Something I have been saying for years and years and years now as well, is to own the hard copies means that you cannot have it taken away from you. Because anything digitally can be changed. We're finding that out right now with news, is that they'll put out an article that will probably have the truth in it, and then an hour later, they will change the article. They will edit the article to where it will say something slightly different than it did before. And we're seeing that constantly now. People are going back and trying to find the article, and the article has changed. It's because they're able to manipulate it. Because you gave up your ability to be able to have the truth. And nobody sees it. Nobody cares because everybody thinks that, oh, this new digital world's going to be so great. That's, it is digital book burning. That's all it is. Yeah, they are manipulating everything that you know. It is the ministry of truth, except you don't need to have an actual human. I mean, newspapers are almost non-existent now. The excuse that they used was to save paper, save the world. Oh, we don't want to print paper anymore. Just save the world. That fits into another agenda. All their agendas fit together. All their agendas absolutely fit together. And none of them make any sense. You're not going to die. Climate change is not real. I'm going to say that right now. It's a lie. It's a myth. Will my channel be pulled because I said that? Probably. I don't care. It's a myth. Just another reason for them to tax your ass off. It's exactly what it's going to be. I was talking about it with my mom. And I said, Mom, if you think your taxes are bad now, wait until they introduce a carbon tax. She said, what's a carbon tax? I was like, well, that's how you know. That's how you know that the world will fall apart. Is because people don't even understand the terms. You're being manipulated. You're being lied to. And it's going to come, and it's going to crush us all unless we do something about it. And this goes right back to the very first thing I said at the beginning of this video, is that if you refuse to stand up and speak out, it will steamroll you. And you won't be able to do anything about it. So, make your choice. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? With all that being said, now that I've said my piece, I am going to get off here, log in so that I can make my 25% of my work energy. And because it's exactly what it is. I only get about 25%. Maybe even less than that. I don't know. I'll have to add it up sometime. I will do that. I will take a paycheck, and then I will cut out what I pay for my everything that I could be saving by not, if I were just self-sustaining, how much I would be saving. Well, see, even then, I wouldn't be able to do it because I'd have to pay for the electricity in order to be able to work, unless I actually went out to a job to work. I don't know. There's a way to do it, I'm sure. Anyways, I gotta go do that. You guys take care of yourselves. God bless every single one of you. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up. They want you to be silent. They want you to be controllable. And the more that you are silent, the more that you are controllable, the more they win. So, anyways, I shall talk to you guys later. Take care of yourselves.